Hey, Tom here. I'm in Dubai. I'm here for a holiday, but while I was here, the marathon and the 10K was on, so I decided to sign up. I was going to do the marathon, but after a pretty heavy Christmas, I decided I was going to do the 10K instead. Not sure what time we're going to get. I haven't really been training very hard over the past 6 weeks since Valencia Marathon, so I'm going to be wearing the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3s and trying out a new pair of stand socks. Right, I'm going to get to the start line and give this race a go. See you in a bit. Okay, so I'm back now in the UK. I did record a video after running the Dubai 10K, but for some reason the sound didn't work on it, so I can't use it. So I'm back now after a couple of days and really enjoyed it. I ran the 10K race in the marathon weekend. I was planning on doing the marathon, which was a very optimistic decision before I ran Valencia at the start of December. After running Valencia and realising that I wasn't as fit as I should be, I thought I'm going to just do the 10K because I wasn't going to be training a lot harder over December. I don't tend to train very hard over the Christmas period. I like to drink and eat and stuff. So it wasn't a good idea to run another marathon a month after. So I decided to run the 10K. Luckily, there's a 10K version as well, which you can do on the same day. And I wasn't heading out to Dubai specifically to do a race. I actually was going out on holiday, so it was just an added bonus that this was on at the same time I was over there. So decided to do the 10K as a bit more fun than just killing myself over a full marathon distance. So Dubai, I'd never been there before, so I didn't really know what to expect from the running scene, from the marathon and the 10K, but really enjoyed it. The 10K and the marathon takes place down near the seafront, and you don't run along the seafront in the 10K, you actually just run along a main road. It's really fast, it's really flat, but the running scene in Dubai is getting pretty big. I went to a run club to do a shakeout run on Saturday, Fade Fit Run Club, and there's definitely a big scene of runners there, but I don't think there's such a big scene when it comes to racing. Dubai Marathon talk about there being 30,000 places across all of the 3 race distances over the marathon weekend. So there's a marathon, there's a 10K, and there's a 4K fun run. The numbers didn't get close to that 30,000. It was more like, I think, about 2 and a bit thousand for the marathon, more like 5,000 for the 10K, and then the 4K fun run was another couple of thousand. So not nowhere near that 30,000 mark. But for some people that's really good, and it definitely makes it a more relaxing experience. At the start of the 10K and the marathon, I got down there really early. I got down there before the marathon started, and that starts at 7:15. The elite race for the marathon starts quite a bit earlier than that, but 7:15 for the marathon because it does get quite warm over in Dubai, even in January. And then the 10K starts at 8:15. So I got down there really early, met a load of people, spoke to a lot of runners down there about the race and the shoes they were wearing and things like that. But because of the numbers, it's quite relaxed. There's loads of toilets you can use. You can get coffees, you can get food and drink while you're there, and it's not a big mad rush to get in there. You're not queuing off the toilet for ages, which makes it a very nice race to do. It's very well organised as well. The start is very simple to get to. You don't have to get there really, really early like you do at some of the big marathons in the UK. So it's definitely a nice one to do if you're looking for a relaxed opportunity to go and do one of the race distances. The course for the 10K, as I said, just goes down the main road, and it actually is part of the full marathon distance. So it's basically just straight out down the road, turn around, come back. Very nice, very enjoyable to do. There's lots of space on the road. It's a very wide road. What I would say about Dubai is that, especially around the marathon, is that even though there's quite a big running scene in Dubai now, I don't think there's a big race scene over there at the moment. So what I found about the 10K is that people didn't really know where to start, and it was quite congested at the start, and I had to sort of weed through a lot of people, some that just started walking from the start of the race, even though they were stood at the front. So I don't think there's a race etiquette for the race, especially for this race in Dubai. So if you're planning on running any of these races, make sure you get to the front, because they don't have waves for these races, and there's not that many people doing it, so that they don't really need to organise complicated waves. But definitely, if you're looking to go fast, and when I mean fast, I'm talking like 40 minutes and below for the 10K, and the marathon, if you're going for a 3 or a sub 3, get to the start, because there's not a massive chunk of faster people doing those two races. If you're looking at getting a sub 3, you'll probably be in the top 100 of 2,500 people. If you're looking at getting a sub 40 in the 10K, you're going to be quite high up in the list. So definitely get to the start of the race, and it does get quite congested at the start, because people are pushing to the front to get to the front, even though there's a lot of people that weren't really running that fast at the start, so they didn't need to be that far forward. So keep that in mind if you're planning on doing either of these races. So my race wasn't that successful. I wasn't quite sure what time I'd get. Back over in November, I got a 37:40 10K, which I was really pleased with, because I wasn't expecting to be that fast over that marathon training block. But since then, since Valencia, I haven't really done a lot of speed training. So I didn't expect to get a time that fast. But what I found was that I started the race and I was going for my usual 10K pace, which is about 3:40 minute kilometers. Managed to maintain it for about 3K, and then decided that I was just in a lot of pain. I definitely needed to do a lot more speed work if I was going to maintain that same speed that I was getting back in Brighton. So at about 3K, I decided to pull back a bit, and I ran with a friend of mine, and I ended up with 42 minutes something. Probably could have got around 41, but even that would have been in a struggle. So I think I've got a lot more work to do when it comes to speed training before Manchester Marathon at the end of April. Other than that, it's worth noting that because there's not a lot of people running in this race, there's plenty of people running, but it's not as big as the numbers may suggest when you look on the website. So the crowds aren't that massive. So if you're looking for a really big race with loads of crowds, Dubai isn't really the place for that at the moment. On even the marathon route, so we watched a lot of the marathon finishers come in, and it was pretty quiet at the end. I don't think the spectator scene in Dubai for running is that big at the moment, but it makes it nice if you're going down to watch people running in it, because you can see them, you can always get a bit of space, and there's plenty of nice places to stand. But if you're looking for a big event where you want loads of cheering crowds, you want to be running with loads of people, then it's not quite that size yet. It might be over time. It's definitely something that Dubai seems really keen on building up. If you go to the mall to pick up your race kit before, all of the running shops, there's a lot of running shops in the malls in Dubai, are really promoting the marathon and running over the weekend. So I think it's something that they're very focused on doing, but I don't think it's quite got there yet. But yeah, the marathon itself, I didn't run the marathon, so I don't know what it was like, but it does get quite spread out as well. So because there's not that many people running, about 2,000 people or so, that's not many people over the marathon distance. So a lot of people were coming in on their own, and there wasn't somebody else for another couple of minutes. So if you're a runner that wants a really quiet, spacious course when you're doing a marathon, not that bothered about loads of crowds, you're not that bothered about running in big groups of people, it might be for you. If you're the opposite and you want loads of crowds like London, you want a big experience, you're not going to get that at Dubai at the moment. Other than that, it was a very nice 10K. It's a nice setup. It's a nice place to do it. Dubai does get quite hot. If you're in the UK, it gets quite hot. If you're in Dubai, most people were saying that it was actually quite cold. But you're looking at around the start of the 10K race. If you're finishing within like an hour and a half, you're probably going to go up to about 18 to 20 degrees. If you're doing the marathon, you're running at 5-6 hours and you're out there for a while, you're probably going to get up to like 25 degrees, which is quite hot if you're used to running in the UK. But seemingly not for people who live over in Dubai, because they didn't seem to think it was that warm. The only other thing as well is the medal and the Adidas t-shirt that you get. They both say Dubai Marathon on them, so they have the same medal and t-shirt for anyone, whether you're running the Dubai Marathon or Dubai 10K. The only difference with the medal is that you get a different ribbon on it to show that it's a different event. But something I'm not very keen on doing the short distances on races and still having them say marathon on, because then it looks like you ran the marathon with a t-shirt when you really didn't. So hopefully that's something they'll sort out in future, so they've got different versions of those. Right, let's look at the kit that I used. So the only thing that I was testing over the Dubai 10K was the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3. Now, I wasn't going for a PB in this race. I knew I wasn't going to do particularly well in it. I was hoping that I might break 40, but I just didn't have it in me for the race. So I picked up a pair of Adidas Evo SLs while I was out in Dubai, and I was toying with the idea of using those, but I really wanted to use the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3s because I haven't raced in them yet. And the pace that I was running in the marathon at the start was about 3:45 minute kilometers, and I found it worked really well for that. The version 3 has a few changes in it. They've slightly changed the geometry so that the this bevel section, or the sort of pointy bit under the main heel section here, is moved back a bit. So the idea is you get more of a rolling action, and it's actually meant to be more conducive for longer distance running, not necessarily 10Ks. The version 1 I really like for short distances, and version 2 I did as well. But the 3 is meant to be more focused on longer distances like marathons, and it does seem to work better for that. When I was running at that faster pace, felt great. Definitely didn't have any issues at all running at that pace, or my faster pace, 3:45 minute kilometers for a 10K. But I definitely felt this foam was a little bit bouncier in the right places. What I found with the previous version of the shoe is that it was bouncy, but it didn't really have a nice smooth transition, which is what you want for a marathon, because it wants to be as easy as possible and give you as much energy back as possible and move you along nicely. And this definitely feels like it's a slightly different ride to the previous version of the shoe. Definitely felt fast. I still liked it for that short distance, but the latter stages of that race, I was basically running it around my marathon pace for a lot of that 10K. So that's about 4 minute 15 kilometers, and it felt very good for that. Definitely felt bouncier, and definitely felt a bit more aggressive, pushing you onto your toes, rolling you forward onto your toes as you were running. So I did enjoy running in the shoe. I definitely want to try using this for a half marathon. I might use it for Brighton half marathon that's coming up in February, just to see how it feels over that distance at pace. Definitely wasn't the perfect opportunity for me to test it out, because I was struggling quite a bit, but it feels to me like it's a shoe that has a little bit more to it when it comes to that smooth transition, and it's not just a fun shoe. It feels a little bit more applicable to people looking for a longer distance race shoe, as opposed to just have that really amazing bounce that you get from the earlier version of the shoe, but doesn't necessarily help that much when you're trying to go for a long time. Other things I would say about the shoes, I find it very comfortable. It was definitely, I really like the upper of this shoe. Felt really nice to wear. Definitely breathable in that heat as well. No issues with grip or anything on it, but it was pretty nice conditions anyway, as you'd expect in Dubai. But other than that, I definitely felt like it's a slightly improved version for that sort of consistent pace running, and I'm looking forward to trying out a little bit more of it. So that was all I was testing out at the Dubai 10K. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little bell, and if you go to the caption below, you can find a link to our podcast, which comes out a couple of times each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you.